Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of our podcast. I'm Lena, and this is my co host, Rachel.
Hi there, I'm Rachel.
Yeah, and today we are diving straight into something real, which is why so many of us feel unhappy, disconnected, um, even when nothing is actually wrong. Why do you think that is happening, Rachel? Or why do you think that is the case?
Well, I think the reasons are quite complex. Like, there's no defined answer, but I think one thing that I am sure about is social media plays a role in that.
I agree with you. That social media plays a major role.
So
But
I
like how
think one of the reasons that we're really unhappy today is that we are surrounded by so many information, so many news, so many distractions as well every second of our lives, because in this generation we're so easily like access to the internet, the websites or social media or anything like that.
yeah.
And when we're scrolling down our phone, actually I would say that 90% of the information that we receive every day are actually nonsense. I mean, are actually not related to us.
Yes.
And that's why we call them distractions. So all of these distractions make us constantly look outward, and we forget to look inward, to focus on our life, and to actually look inward to our own life.
Yes.
So when you don't feel your life genuinely, how do you expect to feel any sense of happiness in your life? And I can give you one example actually. So, for example, nowadays on social media, there are so many uh, posts, like the so-called perfect posts, by everyone. And whereas everyone know that they're fake, but they seem to be perfect. And we also like the celebrity culture is also a big cause, I think. Everyone is looking outward, and all of this distraction, it basically trigger human desire, and then human desire make you ungrateful, where that's the opposite of gratitude. It make you think that, or I want more, or somebody else has something better, or someone else has something more, and I don't see the point of whatever the things I have. So you're constantly saying, I want more, I want more, I want more, rather than just simply appreciating whatever you have. And somebody who lose gratitude, which is one of the important foundation of a sense of happiness, cannot expect to have a peaceful and happy life. And this is my first point.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that? Like, do you think it kind of makes sense?
Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you, Ming. Like, just like you said, I think part of this, um, like, is that we live in a world that never stops. We're constantly scrolling, comparing, consuming, and every time we get bored, instead of sitting with that feeling, we reach for a screen. And at first it helps. We love, we watch something, we scroll, but over time, that constant stimulation actually starts messing with our minds. Like, we lose the ability to enjoy slow things. We get used to short bursts of pleasures, you know what I mean? Like likes, views, messages, but those never last, you know what I mean? So it's not
Yeah,
like
I
true
think,
happiness.
yeah, exactly. And I think there's actually a deeper reason behind all of the distractions online, all of the distractions on social media. I think that is a lack of value, or a lack of principle in our life. Because when you don't really have a principle, when you don't really have your philosophy of life, then though all of those distractions, they cause a big turbulence in your life, like in your mind, in your heart, and everything like that. And by principle, I'm not talking about some prevailed so-called principle nowadays. Those are not principles, or at most they can just be called as trained and not principles. By principle, I mean like something, a code of life that you agree to and you have faith in, and that is what called as a principle. And that's what make your heart rest in peace despite all of the turbulence happening around you. And I believe that our lack of sense of happiness is deeply connected to the lack of principle, to the lack of belief. Because when your life is principleless, then you're just chasing after the traditional, conventional view of happiness. And you never really question yourself what is real happiness. And you never really question yourself what is the purpose of life. And such a life, no matter how peaceful, how perfect it may seem at the surface, it's coreless. So of course it's dry and it's soulless. And you can never expect a life like this to be happiness, to be full of happiness, I mean. And because of this lack of principle, which is after happiness like everyone else do. For example, we equate happiness to a university degree plus a good job plus a high salary plus family plus car plus house, money, and so on. And happiness becomes like a butterfly that the more we want to catch it, the more easily we lose it. Because the purpose of life ultimately is never chasing after the so-called happiness. Because happiness is a byproduct of living with a higher purpose, or in other words, living with principle. And that's why we say principleless life is never happy. So
principle and purpose.
What do you think, Rina?
I totally agree with you. Yeah, that's great. You know, like it makes total sense because just like you said, we need principles and purpose in order to achieve the actual true, inner happiness. And I think it all comes from like slowing down and just turning in and actually being where you are, and just instead of like running from it, just being who you are and where you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course there are a lot of more complex reasons behind why no one actually feel genuinely happy today. But because this is our first episode, so I think we'll just talk about this question in a relatively simple and shallow surface. So I totally agree with you that I think this is time for us to look inward and to truly live with a life with principle. So here I want to invite everybody of you who are here today with us to start to question the traditional, conventional way of saying happiness, and start to really question your principles and to really, really find your own principle and your own value, and to create our own memorable, fulfilling life. And hopefully that's one day we'll be able to say congratulations to everyone that you find this happiness in your life.
Yes, Rachel. I totally agree with you. Hopefully one day happiness goes back to being part of everyday life like it was before everything got so loud,
And good luck to everyone on the journey of having happiness as a byproduct. living a life with higher purpose.
Yes.
Thank you for everyone.